Hello, everybody, and welcome to ABM Answered, the quick-fire demand generation and ABM video series, or at least that's what we're aiming for. I'm here with marketing extraordinaire Amelia Taylor, who is perfectly capable of introducing herself in a second. But to run you folks through the rules one more time, or kind of the format, Amelia, in this case, will be given 7 questions to respond to, all about account-based marketing and or demand generation. The questions have come from or been adapted based on the content that we've collected at Mixed Reality Rooms, where over 1,000 demand gen and ABM marketers have gone through and stated what their biggest struggles are with demand gen and ABM at the moment. So yes, Amelia, I will hand it over to you to give an intro, as long or as short as you like, about yourself. I know you do many different things.
Well, I talk a lot. I know this, and I'm really working hard on shutting up. So we're going to try to be a little shorter than not. But I moved from the sales side, where my majority of my career has been. We're on the enterprise sales side, over to the dark side of marketing, if you will. Just kidding. I was on the dark side of sales, but jumped over to marketing when I realized there was such a massive need for people and relationships to be at the very forefront of every single sale being had. So I joined a company and completely challenged the CEO in every way, shape, form. Not intentionally. I just saw things as we cannot do things this way forever. And so I was told, hey, learn this 16-page script as a seller. Then you can go respond to all the people in your inbox about what this company does. My response was respectfully no, and here's why. And so, people wanted to meet with me and chat with me because they trusted me, because I had sold to them before, or a relationship was already established. And so, in that being said, my focus has been heavily on all right, I need to go and help evangelize or spread the good word, if you will, of how to really build these relationships that are going to produce revenue and long-term growth, where you're having your retention and reducing churn. And ultimately, it's planting these seeds where there's fruition that's going to happen over time, with it being referrals, recommendations, and the ultimately revenue, then more, relationships being established. And it's just this flywheel effect. But, right now I'm running the revenue table, which is what I've created. And ultimately the whole aspect of that is okay, go sit at the table where you're served, and there's also revenue being passed. So sit at the table where people see you as a partner, where you're able to actually pass revenue and you're able to do things together, or whoever it is, hey, who's that person over there? What do they do best? So it's all about this who you know economy. And I'm really, that's really been my focus. And I'm working fractionally with a few companies right now and enjoying what I'm doing, but it's not easy at all. Let me just say that first and foremost. It's not easy to go out on your own, because you learn a whole lot about what you don't know when you think that you know a whole lot, and which is equally as important, right? Let me add that, what you don't know and what you do know, equally as important, if not more important, to know what you don't know. So you can have this process of elimination of here's what I really do know really well, and here's what I want to learn. So I am in Tampa. I have 2 little girls, single mama, and I am happy as can be. Am I thriving? Yes. Am I surviving? Yes. So there's, getting by, figuring out what's my next best step is really the goal in life right now. Of how do I get to where I want to go one step at a time, not this whole staircase focus.
Nice. Well, commendable that you've gone out on your own as well. Do you mean, I'll try to keep this short with the follow-on questions, but are you referring to, for example, your own accounting and your finance, or are you talking about it's not like a drag and drop, I'll apply my marketing blueprint to the same business because every business is different? Is it everything?
Yeah.
Is it just...
Everything is so different because every company is different. Their needs are different. And so if I had this blueprint, it's here's what you need and here's what you follow. That's telling every company and every sales team, here's exactly what you say to every single prospect that you're calling. Here's every email that you send that's going to be verbatim to all the
Mhm.
personas that you're trying to target. Here's all your ICPs. Great. Here's CEO, CMO. Send them the same message. Like, no way. So everything is situational. It's very specific and focused in on, okay, well, what are the needs and what are you lacking? And where is it that you see yourself in a year from now? What are the growth goals and
Mhm.
what's working, what's not? And so figuring out what's working, enhancing that, eliminating what doesn't work, and then plugging and playing with certain aspects of what does work. And then you got to test in order to be able to actually make things happen. I think that falls so much into like the ABM approach. Like you have to be testing in order to know what you're even doing. Like, does this work in today's market or not?
That's awesome. Right, let's dive straight in. So, problem one that came in was, and it's a hot topic, implementation of AI. So, my question to you, Amelia Taylor, would be how are you using AI in your tech stack to your advantage at the moment? And perhaps maybe, yeah, to talk me through like the first steps of using AI, if you are using AI, of course.
So previously being a part of an AI company to where I was evangelizing the good word of what this company was doing, which was backed by OpenAI. I mean, this company built for B2B SaaS salespeople. I I believed in what it was doing, but this is at a time I was working at the company when OpenAI opened the floodgates of their doors and it was like, whoa, GPT, everybody be reactive. Let's just jump on this and like not know what we're doing. No frontline management is going to have any clue, but let's just say go and run after it, salespeople. And if you don't, you fail, you're out, which is like awful to even say out loud. But that's the reality of what a lot of things, a lot happened within a lot of orgs. And so
Mhm.
many people became so reactive they forgot you. I mean, you can tell that there's companies who are active and like proactive and those who actively leveraging it, proactive in their search for what's best, and then those are reactive who are just doing what they think they should be doing because there's no one telling them how to really implement the best way. So for me, I have played around with a plethora of AI tools. I have left a plethora of AI, free pilot trials, whatever, just the same because I found that if I'm in the driver's seat, I need AI in my like co-pilot. I need it next to me in my passenger seat. I need my EQ and my IQ to be behind me because I need those to be backing me too, which is like your relevancy, your personalization, relevancy over personalization all day. But tools that I have found that are massively helpful for me as a not very organized human. I will just call a spade a spade. I am not. But so my emails get crazy scattered. But Fixer AI is another level to where there's like zero. I mean, you can use it for free. It will just put like, oh, hey, here's the task that you have to do. Like, this is just an FYI someone sent you. Or here's a like action item that's needed to be done. And it'll write in your tone a fault like that email that you need to do, then put variables in there if there's a like something that you need to be sending back. So someone sent me something and they were like, hey, can you send me screenshots of XYZ? And then it put in there, hey, um, would love to, hope you're doing great. Like totally my way of talking. And I was like, what is going on? I was on a run and I stopped for a second and I looked and I was like, right when I downloaded this thing, I was like, this is insane. Like this is I do smiley faces in my messages. Like, and nobody, people frown upon that. I don't care, but I do. And it did it. And I was like, wow, it understands me. Fixer AI, game changer, free. There's nothing that you have to do. Just download it and it goes into your Gmail or whatever email tool you use. Then I will use GPT like new version for a lot. A lot of that being more so idea generation. I don't need that for actually leveraging like posts. Like I write all my own posts. Like I do everything on my own because I enjoy writing. That's more idea generation. Otter.ai, like I love because I'll go do a little walk and talk around the block, whatever. And so if I can walk and talk, because I'm such a talker, I want to talk about the things like, and that's where my head's spinning. If I can talk it out and then it transcribes it, like amazing. It's like a conversation with myself, which sounds psycho, but like it's great. Then another really great one that, shoot, what's the last one I was going to tell you? There's another one I was going to tell you. Um, It'll come back to me. But Reggie AI is another one that is like another level of helpful. They You can go in and it will give you a lot of the like data, like you can do 3 data points with specific outreach to a specific individual. Say that they were on a podcast recently. If you want to be able to pull like some of that information of what they said, or if it's something like they've said funding, whatever it is, or that specific individual, you want to customize it, awesome. And this can go into your LinkedIn or wherever you're kind of living, it's right there. So those are really the tools that I play with. I don't want to play with all of them. There's way too many, and there's hundreds that are created every single day. So, like, God love all of us and help us all. But finding what works for you is all a matter of like talking to people who are doing what you're doing too. I think that's a big thing, is like communicating with those and learning what other people are doing that's helpful, and then testing it and seeing if it works for you. If it does, great. If it doesn't, on to the next. But you
That's an awesome, that's a super in depth, awesome answer. And there's like 2 or 3 absolute golden nuggets and tools. No one's safe, are they?
No one's
You
safe.
can,
No one.
yeah, you could just get picked off by sales teams and all their automation tools. Um, okay, awesome. Problem 2: differentiate yourself in a saturated market. What strategies do you use?
So I am unapologetically myself, and I know this is the silliest answer ever, but through and through, I absolutely am. And so I will do certain things such as like tag certain people or tag like brands. Like I'll tag Nike and things. I'll tag like NFL and things. Like I will do things that are just out of the norm because I'm like, who knows what could come of this? But something that has been really beneficial for me is realizing, okay, if I'm trying to get top of the funnel and I'm trying to go and approach these executives who've been there, done that, who are like, all right, we're just kind of delegating now. Like we're on our sailboat, just having like, our prosecco, being with our families and like whatever, living the best life we possibly could because we've already been there, done that, we've made it. These people are living on Instagram. They're not living on LinkedIn. They are not going to respond to you on LinkedIn. They're on vacation somewhere doing whatever they're doing. But if you go and approach them in this human like nature, and I do not mean this with anyone and everyone, because if you don't have a reason as to why you're approaching someone, like you are failing completely. Like there is zero chance in hell that they're going to respond to you. But if there's a reason for doing so, these people are going to be responsive. So at one point, Lars Nelson, who was the um, VP of Business Development at Snowflake for years and years and years, one of the first people who developed kind of this sales playbook on how to do things. And so he was an advisor for a company that I was at. And so I was trying to stand up this whole advisory program of really getting like the best names engaged with the product that was at hand. That I was like, all right, if we get big voices, is like influencer marketing, they already have equity. Like, let's just get them talking, but they need to have like the insights on how to do so. Okay, LinkedIn's not working. They're not responsive here. Email, I'm not even going to try. Like, I know that's flooded. I'm not going to go text these people just because I'm not going to be rude, like, and be weirdo. Like, there's a time and a place for that. So I was like, let's go find them on Instagram. So I did. 10 out of 10, like,
Sick.
responses. And because my approach was, hey, I can't wait to have a bigger sailboat than you one day. Just kidding. Hey, you're an advisor for the company that I'm at right now, trying to stand up this program. Can I get some feedback from you based off of what I'm trying to do? Would absolutely love it. Happy to, pay you back in wine or whatever makes you, whatever you can enjoy on as you sail away into, the abyss. Whatever I said, that was just ridiculous. But it was a strategy to, one, let someone's guard down. Two, let them know, like, hey, I'm just looking for guidance and help here from someone who's been in a higher position than I have been in. And like, joking aside, like, joking aside, like, hey, I'll pay this forward in some way. by, paying it to you, whatever it is, but like absolutely would love to have your feedback and making them feel as though like, hey, you're important too, even though they don't need that. It was a strategy where they appreciate, or I would get a voice note back that's 3 minutes long on like, when would you like to meet? Like, here's something that I think could be really valuable for you. Also, really love the company, super happy that you reached out, this is not the norm. Like, and they would, appreciate that. And so that goes, this all this said, do not y'all go and be like, hey, I'm going to go and reach all of my people on Instagram now. Like, that is not the way to do it, because there was relevancy as to why I reached out and I asked for feedback. And also there was a goal in mind as to what I had, 3 questions for each of these like 10 advisors that I picked out to really focus in on. Okay, what's your go-to-market strategy right now? How can we play together nicely, and how can we really enhance like what you're doing? And what's like the year long goal? Like, what is it like the end of the year? What is it that's a big thing? Like, if you accomplish this, like, what happens, and like, how can we contribute to that? Like learning them and understanding them, but also just talking about like, hey, you've got 5 kids. Like, one, you're crazy. Two, like, tell me more. And just becoming friends with people, because in today's market, nobody wants to work with anyone if you're not a peer to them. Like, if there's not trust established, and there's not some kind of like, hey, I'm human, you're human, we both don't fall asleep with our titles, we both put our pants on the same way, they don't want to work with you. So go be human as possible and stop worrying about what everybody thinks, because that will be your downfall. And learn AI also. Learn when to streamline things is going to be something that I'm going to toss in there too. Be you, but learn which tools also learn you and can speak in your tone. Let that be like 70%. Add your 30% human touch, because that matters, to ensure that like what you're sending, if it is on the one-on-one basis, is going to be from you. It's not looking like this bot, and it's relevancy over personalization all day long is going to win. So like, no one will respond, like I said, if there's nothing to respond to. If there's nothing that's going to be enhancing their lives, enhancing their company, and making it about them. Less I, more you. Getting it away from I can do this for you. Cool. I don't care what you can do. Like, I don't care what your company does. Like, how are you going to
Yeah.
help me do this based off of my role, not the CRO's role, because I'm a CMO, right? Like, whatever it may be, focus in on how you're going to specifically help that individual.
Don't approach them unless you have value to add. I interviewed another marketer called Henry Clark, and he said he found them on Twitter, like his ICP, and that he owned a pig farm, and like he just struck up a conversation about like a pig farm that he was super passionate about, slightly different, but like go the added way to be different
Yeah. I
and be
was
brave
reading
enough, I
that
guess,
this
to
morning. That is so weird you said that. I was reading literally this morning someone talking about like using like X to be able to like, that's a strategy and an approach. And I was like, I need to go play there too. Like, it makes sense.
Problem three: creating engaging and relevant content for specific target accounts can be resource intensive. So, the question, I guess, to you would be how can marketers more efficiently create kind of this compelling content um, in an ABM approach without being like ludicrous and going like all in on a one to one basis?
I've heard of there's one company who I know right now is going all in on like influencer marketing. Like, that is their marketing play right now, because they're like, that's the big thing. Great,
Okay.
have on it. But also, it's like, okay, but what collateral are you delivering to your audience that's relevant? I think one of the biggest things is companies are lacking someone internally who is out in the wild, if you will, where their buyers are living and talking and breathing the most to their peers about solutions, and creating these feedback loops within the go to market teams, like, and weekly having these, hey, this is what people are talking about. Here's what we should be building, because this is the problem at hand. So, like, setting up, say you're in different Slack communities, setting up your keywords in there, to where you get that ding, every time like they
Yeah.
talk about it. And then you're the first one to say, hey, I think I can help you out with this. Awesome. Go over to the DMs. That's where the money's passed, y'all. Go to the DMs and you say, hey, verbatim, repeat exactly what they said, what they're looking for help with. You introduce yourself, be brief, and here's how I think that we can help you. Either way, great to meet you and excited to follow your success. Make it nonchalant. Hey, for the sake of simplicity, here's my calendar link. Some people don't like it. I'm a fan to make this, if it makes sense for us to chat further. If you want to add that, great. If you don't, great. But go set up your keywords to where you're shown as the expert at what you do. And then people know you, and then referrals again happen. And, it's a one-to-one and one-to-many approach. So when you do this, more eyes are seeing in this channel, wherever someone posted something, more eyes are seeing that you're saying, hey, I think I can help you out here. And then you slide to the DMs, and that's where that's that one-to-one, but there's also the one-to-one because you're talking to them through the channel, but more people are seeing it. So that's one-to-many. So it's a double tap kind of approach, but that's how you get the, other people who are like, hey, I saw that you could help so-and-so with this. And it's 3 months later because they're researching it. So be omni-channel, be in these different spaces and places to where you're known as that person, and create your content around the what it is that you help. But do not focus in solely on what you do. Like, God forbid we all do that, like, because I will jump ship off LinkedIn tomorrow if that happens. Like, I'm telling, if which a lot of people do, but the whole point of LinkedIn is what? It's like, it's networking. And if we aren't networking in a way where we're actually helping people in the ads that we're putting out there and the things that we are delivering to those that are customers that are going to be like, oh, they're either celebrating us too, which matters, or, this is the feedback that we're getting from customers because we're having like quarterly check-ins with them or whatever it is, because that matters. And delivering, because they're your best. I mean, the people, your power users, the people who are, on the premium plan, whatever it is, or those that are like the big companies who are using your tool. Go ask them questions and get feedback and get testimonials and share those in the right places. And then base your collateral off that. Go celebrate your people, go get the feedback loops, and then deliver content that's going to be valuable based off of what people are saying. Hire someone internally, literally go be out in the wild with those people and deliver that feedback, give them value, and then constantly just kind of be a SWAT and, get a SWAT team together, like 3 people, go put them out in the wild. That's all you got to do.
I love that. I read it. Yeah, I remember your Slack, not Slack post. I read your LinkedIn post on exactly that strategy. Yeah, when I reached out for you to be on here, it's absolutely gold. I feel like you're living in the future to some extent. Like, that is clearly the play that people need to be doing.
It's so funny. I did that in the carpool line dropping my kids off one morning because someone asked me, how do you set up keywords in Slack? And I was like, oh, just go to your preferences, scroll down like halfway, boom, it says keywords, put them in, just comment in between, boom, done. And I was like, oh, but there's more to this. Let me just add, like, here's 6 ways Slack can be your revenue engine for 2024, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize my calendar link was in my about section. So I had like, I don't know, 60, 70 people who booked on my calendar. And I was like, oh, okay. No. Granted, there's probably half of them that were like open to work and not in, anywhere near me. So I was like, all right, cancel those. Then asked a mentor of mine. I was like, what do I do? She goes, well, you cancel all of them. You put a note in there and say, I'm going to be doing 2 live like webinars on LinkedIn. And then I'm going to have, and just create a presentation like through Canva, whatever it is, and walk through as to why this matters. And then if you want, put a paywall up or give it to people for free, which I did. And I was like, hey, here's kind of my playbook for doing this. Take it or leave it. But this is how I've generated the most revenue in my career, is through Slack communities. So go find your people there. But yeah, no, it is kind of funny when that comes up because I find it so simplistic, but it's not something people talk about.
Well, I feel like that's a lot of marketing. It is like people overcomplicate it with buzzwords and things. It's just like, no, actually, where are they? Do that.
Yes.
Right. Problem four: quality versus quantity of leads. So, like, how do you? Obviously, everyone wants revenue now. Funny
I want
that,
it
but
yesterday.
like, they want it yesterday. But like at the same time, you don't want to be fired in the short term, so you've got to like generate some form of leads. Like how are you striking the balance between leads versus quantity versus quality?
I am like quality all day is the focus because if it's top of the funnel and it's going to be these enterprise companies, like there's going to be more stakeholders in the room. Like you've got to get more people
Yeah.
to trust you and like you and say yes to being in a conversation with you to really get something moving along if you want something enterprise level to close. But you got to get finance involved. You got to get whoever, procurement, however your sales cycle goes. But you got to win in the interim, right? So
Mhm.
if there's the sales team, say it's a smaller sales team, have it to where there's like specific people focused on like winning yesterday sort of thing. Like, hey, um, here's our reps who are focused on going out and sourcing the smaller deals. Those, and I wouldn't say inbound per se. I think a lot of AI can take care of inbound by way of just simply streamlining it to the right individual, opposed to having a rep take care of that. Um, that is one thing I do believe in when it comes to, and that's, I won't say it's dead. I won't go that far because like dead is such an aggressive word to use anyways. We
Yeah.
should just stop. But that's my hot take. Stop saying everything's dead, y'all. But I would say that, there are things that can be automated when it comes to that inbound lead flow because you can see the attribution. Great. You can go ahead and it can be scheduled on round robin, whoever's calendar it needs to go to. Um, and then if those are like the smaller deals, but then if it's the larger whale kind of enterprise level deals that you're trying to get, a heavier focus on who the stakeholders are and creating this map, but then sales nav or sales or whatever your CRM is, like create a map of who the people are and then also go and say, okay, who's first degree connections with so and so, and then go see if there's an introduction that can be made because people trust people and that's how you're going to win is by way of who knows who. We're in a who economy, 100% who knows who. That's how people are either winning or losing, is by doing that exactly. And that's how a lot of the words, who have I bought from before, who do I trust, I'm going to go to that person and ask them exactly what I should be using. And I'll see it all the time in different communities. People will be just having conversations of like, hey, trying to figure out if I should use Gong or Clary, whatever. And it's like, can someone give me the pros and cons of both? And someone will jump in and have that. And it's okay. I think, all right, well, who's a rep who can go in and like actually, like, why is a rep not showing up? And like, hey, I'm more than happy to give you some of the pros and cons. And also don't badmouth who it is that like there's great things that can be from both. They both have their strengths. But figure out and people respect you more if you give them honest like
Mhm.
wisdom and here's what I think is best for you. They're going to come back around and they're going to pass someone. I'm telling you right now, they will pass someone your way at some point or another saying, hey, this is the girl who told me I shouldn't buy from her, but you need to because this is exactly what you need. Does it sound like the right thing to do? No. Does it suck? Sure. But have I won more by doing that? Absolutely.
Long game over short game. I feel like nice. I
This is
love that.
I got my stress ball that I'm holding that I forgot I was holding. Like this is serious, y'all. This is very serious.
In some cases, it could mean getting fired or not getting fired, but we won't focus on that. Problem five: adapting. Well, I guess we're going to have a little quick fire round, but like adapting to change of buyer behavior. So, um, I guess look, sales cycles have got longer. That's kind of a given across every buying cycle. How have you adapted kind of your approach to marketing? If you can expand, I mean, you've already given us like the golden nuggets. Like, can you expand on what you're kind of currently doing? Has that evolved now that the buying cycles have generally got longer? Or
I think it's acknowledging it, like being as human as possible, right? And acknowledging with potential buyers, like, hey, I know this is more of a buyer's experience than journey. Like, how can I make this to where we're on the same page here? Like, here's the next best step. Are we in alignment here? Like, communication has to be on point. Like, if communication throughout this buyer's experience now, because that experience, think about going to Disney, right? Which that's a terrible, terrible, like, I don't know. Let's nix that. Let's not talk about that. Let's say going to like whatever concert is your favorite. Disney drives me nuts. So like you're hot and sweaty and blah. So whatever concert is like, whoever your person is, boom, you're going to that concert. Amazing. That experience that you have that's so great. You want your buyers to experience a really great, like from start to finish whole, not just a journey, this whole like we had this awesome like rep who was like super helpful, super inquisitive. They were very curious and they were like, they wanted to help us, like genuinely help us. And they brought in the right person at the right time. And then knowing how to navigate things, like being able to pivot is something that's, I believe, a choice for companies. And a lot of companies are choosing, we have always done things this way. Okay, well, those companies are not going to get sucked up into these like massive companies who are taking over, who are going to be the head companies that are the ones that are go-tos for this, like specific problems that people have. That's where you'll go. And we're seeing that happen. So like, I mean, a lot of these companies are merging, a lot of, I'm saying accusations. What am I saying? A lot of, not accusations, a lot of,
acquisitions?
acquisitions, accusations of acquisitions, people, a lot of them
Yeah.
out there. But it's, it is interesting to see how the top is going to win. And if you don't keep up with it being a buyer's experience instead of just a journey, and like being very intentional with your next best step on how to treat people, not just like as buyers, showing up to help them first and foremost, and then being proactive with your approach and like staying on top of what it is you need to do, then like you won't win them as a client. Like you won't. They won't be customers of yours because they're going to someone else saying, hey, I think that this person sucks and I don't want to work with them. Like, because they didn't follow up with me until 10 o'clock at night. So I was an afterthought for them. Do not do that. Just do your tasks that you have to do. Go use Fixer AI, what I use, where it literally just tells me to do what I need to do right then.
Yeah. I feel like this is a great ad for Fixer AI.
It's not meant to be, and there's nothing that I'm getting from
But
that.
sure.
But it's such a game. It's been such a game changer for me that I'm like,
Yeah.
it should be in every rep's hands, I swear.
No, I mean, like, there's nothing bad for recommending good tools. Quick fire. Problem 6: tracking and reporting ROI. So, what metrics? I guess probably revenue, but like, what metrics are important to you when monitoring kind of your campaigns and your outreach, and when you're setting up your marketing campaigns?
I think when you look at how many contacts are being added into your database too, I think that matters. Like how many people are coming by way of you, looking at where word of mouth is coming from or what attributable source of things, like in tracking, like end of week, let's look at where we moved the needle from it being like what percentage are we up from seeing that it went from our ad spend to okay, like Facebook ads are not working for us. Great, let's nix those, right? Like that's not where our audience is living. And being able to know, like, okay, are we targeting in the very right place? Because if you're not, like you're wasting money, you're wasting dollars, you're reaching no one. Maybe one, it might not be a qualified buyer to begin with. Like go where people are qualified. But if you don't track that and you don't look at those numbers and those metrics, how are you supposed to know? So I think that with things ever evolving, like you've got to be able to track the attribution, you've got to see what's moving fastest and if it's ICP who's coming in or not. And contacts that are being added to see if it's continuing to move forward and if it's, let's say in HubSpot, if it's a deal that's progressing or if it's still in that lead status. So having that dashboard that just shows the metrics on a weekly basis so you can look every Friday. Okay, here's where we're at. Monday, here's our goal for the week, right?
Yeah, Friday either makes or breaks your week. I guess your weekend.
Yeah.
It's
Or
either
maybe
been great or it's been terrible.
maybe Thursday, just the Friday you can breathe. Like, hey, every Thursday and Tuesday we look. I don't know. Whatever you guys feel is the best. Figure it out on your own, but do it.
I feel like that might be better advice. Well, I don't know. I tie my it's bad, but I tie my personal stuff to my work quite a lot.
You
But
do
yeah,
too.
no.
Don't do Friday. Don't do Friday. That sounds terrible. That sounds like awful. Unless you do it early Friday morning, which also sounds terrible. I would say do it Friday or Thursday, late afternoon. I'm
Yeah,
changing my
unless you know you're on like an absolute winner for the week.
right.
Final question is from Davis Potter, who is the CEO of Forgex, ABM agency. He said, I mean, it could be taken many different ways. It's quite an open-ended question, but how do you see the convergence? Good lord, it's late for me. Sorry,
You sound these
of demand generation and ABM taking place. Like, where does the crossroads happen? And also, like, I'd be interested in just like your two definitions of demand gen versus ABM, because I know everyone's got their own little take on it.
That's a great question. I mean, I think account based marketing is very much so focused specifically on that account list that you've got. This isn't for these are for the who you're targeting, right? Like it's account based marketing. Like per account, these are the people that you're trying to market to. Great. Demand gen can be your TAM, right? Like this is going to be you're trying to drive the demand, but you've got to be able to capture it and who's capturing the demand. Like there's got to be the attributable source. Like where I'm seeing the crossover is in partnerships. That's where I'm seeing a majority of crossover is where people are deciding to co-sell together. They're deciding to do co-marketing events together. They're leveraging some of their best salespeople to be more like really good marketers to where they get to know their buyers very well. And they know that target list extensively to where they can act on this as marketers to where they've got the insights too, and they're collaborating. Like sales and marketing are talking, and it's not like this battle. And there's also, there's an overlay with sales, marketing, and partnerships to where there's, okay, this could be a lead for us. This could be a co-marketing event. This could be a tech partner that we can go do webinars with or an event with because events are a
Mm-hmm.
big thing right now. So I think a lot of lead gen is happening through events in collaboration together with the right people who also have the same ICP.
Yeah, no, the smaller events in particular as well, isn't it? Like
Yes.
the little specialist events.
The micro,
They're
or that's where it wins totally.
Yeah, have you got any tips? Just the last question on that. Have you got any tips on how to? Because I know it's a common challenge. Everyone wants to get their ICP in person. What hooks or themes or treats or incentives? How are you getting people to these little events? Or what would you do if you were hosting one next week?
If I were hosting one next week, that would be shame on me. I should be preparing much better than that. But if I were, and let's say I've been preparing for like a few weeks before, it would
Yeah.
be with someone like a company. So, say one of the companies I'm kind of fractional with right now, Capchase. They're not a large company, and they're
Hmm.
trying to focus their energy on doing more of these co-marketing plays. But looking at the partnerships that are already in place with tech partners that they have that might be way larger
Yeah.
than Capchase, figuring out how to do something with an event that's happening that is, say, Pavilion's doing an event. Why not do something that's a happy hour where they're attending that and do something that evening and do it together because you're going to get way more engagement and say it's a powered by partnership kind of thing. You're leveraging those people that are your ICP at that event, but you're doing it with someone who's already attending and they're already like a sponsor. Then go play with that out, like leverage what's right in front of you and then do something that's a happy hour because people all show up for happy hours. Like make it easy and make it to where there's like big names that show up, whoever it is like, okay, Henry and Zoom member, whatever. Doubt he would show up, but like, who knows? Whoever it may be. But even so, it's like just celebrate the people who are going to be there, talk about it, and make it easy for people to show up. Like, hey, here's this. There's also like the Uber thing now where it's like, hey, get all your people together. And so do something that's a more interesting approach of like, here's the Uber for everyone to jump into. That's like, here's like two Tahoes, Suburbans, whatever, for the people who are coming from, let's say it's at a hotel where this conference is at. Here's where the happy hours is at. You make it known. We're going to make it easy for you to get to where you need to go because there's the Uber for business now. And then you just let everybody go that way. So doing it with people who have the same ICP, leveraging an event that's already happening, and making it easy for them to get from where they need to go to what you're doing, and doing it around where other events are happening too, so you can also have other people bounce in and out. Make it easy.
Amelia, you are a genius. Yeah. You're hijacking the hard work goes to these companies with all this ad spend that have put loads of money behind it to drag people to a certain location, and you're kind of piggybacking, springboarding off it, but
Yeah.
ultimately at the same time giving them arguably a more fun, casual, better experience. That's super smart. I love that. Okay, awesome. We are done. Congratulations. The final thing I will ask is, do you have a question for our next guest?
Oh, totally. Okay. Here's my question. I'm coming up with this on the fly. If you could take any no, let's go with Chris Walker, okay? If you could take
Mhm.
any one of Chris Walker's um, let's say strategies.
Okay.
Let's take his the attribution, or it being how to um, or his conversions, or whatever it may be. I don't know. Go look at like three of his videos. Pick one of them, break it down into like three steps instead of this whole long post because I don't have time to read them. I don't. So make it easy for everyone. Break it down and share as to why it matters, because there are a lot of people who just reshare and they just post things. But he is one of the first people you think of when you think of like marketing, because he's put himself out there and he's had a lot of success in doing so. It does not mean he's right about everything. Does not mean that his approaches are the best, but either go break it down or challenge it. That is what I would say. More so, I would go with challenge. Yeah, go challenge something that Chris Walker says. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay, I know exactly who to ask this to. The ideal guest would be Chris Walker himself, so maybe I'll just pitch him. But Amelia Taylor, thank you so much for being the most delightful guest. Actually, thank you.
Thank you for being such a delightful host. You've been wonderful, and I hope that this is helpful for anyone out there. And anyone, feel free to reach out to me at any point. I'm happy to help because helping is where I feel like I'm doing my best work. So, Sam, you're the best. You are a wonderful host, and cheers, everyone.
Nice, thank you.